Say hello. Okay, so for ages and ages now, loads of you, yes I know boo, loads of you have been asking me to do a video on how to track your macros. So that is what I'm going to do today. So I didn't use a macro calculator or sort of the things that you can do online like that. I did it manually myself. I found a website that looked really good and that told you sort of manual steps of how to work it out yourself, anyway, with some calculations. And they're pretty simple, but they can kind of be confusing if you don't know what you're doing. So I thought we could go through them together. I even bought a little blackboard set. Do you like that? Yeah. I even bought a little blackboard set to do the calculations on for you guys, because I thought that would be easier than sort of pen and paper and cuter. So I'm going to put you down now, okay? Go on then, down you get. Or you want to go on the bed? Yeah? Good girl. Shall I get one of your chew toys? There we go, you have that. Let's start with talking about what macros actually are. Macros stands for macronutrients, and they are carbs, fats and protein. And when you track macros, you track the grams of carbs, fats and protein, and also calories that go into your body with what you eat day to day. There's different calculations for figuring out your macros depending on what your goals are. So the three main goals are cutting, so that's losing fat, bulking, and that's gaining muscle, or maintaining, which is just staying the same. So yeah, your macros will vary depending on what your goals are. So it is a little bit confusing, but I think you just need to choose a goal that you want mainly and sort of give it a go for that. Tracking macros is just a good way of controlling and knowing what's going into your body. It's an amazing way of developing knowledge about food and nutrition and what's actually in food. So after tracking macros for like 4 months, I knew a lot about lots of different foods, because you eat different types of foods every day, so you're forced to look at the nutrition in loads of different types of foods. If you're quite a repetitive person with what you eat, you'll find that macros is a lot easier, obviously, because you kind of just get to know your sort of what you'd eat on a regular basis, which is, I guess I am quite repetitive, so that's probably why I picked it up quickly. But also then I do eat quite random things, so yeah, that kind of helped me spread my knowledge a lot more quickly. Yeah, another reason people like it is because it's flexible. It's IIFYM, so it's if it fits your macros, which allows you to eat kind of anything as long as it fits your macros. Oh, that dog's annoying. Oh, can you hear me? So obviously, once you start tracking macros, you'll see that you can't just eat donuts and chocolate all the time because you get hungry. So you do actually have to eat healthy, nutritious foods, but you can leave room. You can make room for things like chocolate and other things like that. So that is like the beauty of tracking macros. You can do higher fats and higher carbs depending on which one suits you better. So I am a major carbs person. I absolutely adore carbs, and I don't really eat that much fat like on a regular basis. Like I would rather have things like rice and things like I don't know, bread and pasta and all of that in my diet than things like, I can't even think of fats that I enjoy. I suppose butter. People like a lot of butter. Yeah. So anyway, if you like fattier foods, you can increase your fats and decrease your carbs. If you like carbs, you can, and I will talk about how to do that in a minute. So basically, it gives you amazing knowledge, and the reason I did it is because it prepares you to be able to. What do you want? You want to get down? Why is she crying? Why don't you just jump off the bed? Why? What's wrong with you? So yeah, another thing that's good is that it does prepare you for intuitive eating, which is the reason I did it. And now I'm intuitively eating, and it's great because macros has allowed me to do that. Okay, now we're going to talk about how you actually work out your macros. So you need to know your body weight, and you need to convert your body weight, if you know it in kilograms, to pounds. I'm going to go by how much I weighed last time I worked out my macros, because I don't even know how I remember that, but basically I don't know how much I weigh now, but I weighed 128 pounds last time I was working out my macros. Take your body weight in pounds, so 128, and you're going to times it by, so let's test out this, 128. Oh my god, it's going to be back to front, isn't it? No, it won't be. No. Yeah. Times by 11 if you've got a non-active job, so you're not walking around a lot, or if you do little to no exercise. So like you wouldn't really schedule exercise in, you kind of just walk around the park, or like it's very little amount of exercise that you do week to week. You times by 11. You're going to times by 12 if you have an active job, like a postman or a garbage man or something where you are sort of like walking around and using your body during your job, not like an office job. And or 12 if you've got a non-active job but you exercise 2 to 3 times a week, and that doesn't have to be intensely, it could just be like a little bit of cardio, or it doesn't have to be like weightlifting or anything, that's just like training 2 to 3 times a week. So that's 12. You times by 13 if you've got an active job and you train 2 to 3 times a week, so you're pretty active week to week, or you've got a non-active job but you train intensely, that's underlined intensely, I'm sure you cannot read my writing, 4 to 6 times a week. So intense would be like high intensity interval training, or weightlifting, or anything that's kind of like working up a sweat, and like it doesn't have to be like mega intense, but it kind of just means a hard workout. So sometimes I definitely fit these. I'm between 13 and 14 because it's hard to know whether as a student you have an active or non-active job, because some days I walk around campus and go to the shops and like I do loads, and then some days I'll literally sit at my desk and work all day. So I know that can be quite difficult, so sometimes I just do like 13. I usually just stick up to 13, I think. And then you would do 14 for an active job and training 4 to 6 times a week, so that's like super active, or you're a professional athlete and training multiple times a day and every day of the week or whatever. So usually I would be between, I would choose 13, I think. Yeah, definitely 13. A lot of you might be 12 or whatever you think is best fit. Don't worry too much about it. Yeah, I think the majority of you would be between 12 and 13. So basically you take your body weight in pounds times 13, which is what I'm going to do, and that's 1664 calories. I'm doing a maths degree. No, I'm joking, I haven't written down there, I literally wouldn't have a clue. So that is how many calories I would have roughly been on during my macros for cutting. Protein is an easy one, it's just your body weight in protein, so that is 128 pounds of protein for this example. Fat. For fat, we want between 0.3 to 0.6, my writing is so messy, grams of fat per body weight. So this is where it kind of is up to you. Obviously 0.3 is going to give you the least amount of fat you can have, and 0.6 is going to give you the maximum amount of fat you have. So for me, immediately I thought, oh, 0.3, I'm just going to chuck it at 0.3. 0.3 gave me, I think, around 38 grams of fat, and I tried that out, and I was hitting more towards, even though I don't eat a lot of fat, it does add up. It is in kind of things here and there, and it's in things like butter and milk and things like that, so it does add up, and I was hitting more of the 45 grams per day range. So I wasn't stressing too much that I wasn't hitting my macros at the beginning, because it's like a trial period and you're trying to find what works best. I then changed it to 0.35 grams, 0.35, and that gave me 44.8 grams of fat. So obviously that was a lot better because I was hitting 45. That's the same as 45 basically. So I changed it to 0.35. I guess you just trial it for a bit, see kind of what you're roughly hitting and adjust it, but start like lower, 0.35 to 0.34 if you prefer carbs or whatever. Okay, so far I have 128 grams of protein, and I'm going to round it to 45 grams of fat. Now to work out carbs. So next stage is you take your protein and you times it by 4, because there's 4 calories in every gram of protein, and you get 512. You take 45 grams of fat and you times it by 9, because there's 9 calories in every gram of fat, and that gives you 403.2. You add those two numbers together and you get 915.2. Now, you then take the amount of calories you worked out at the beginning, and so you minus the 915, which was the number you got from adding together your protein times by 4 and your fat times by 9. you then get 748.8, and then you divide that by 4, which is 187.2, and that is your grams of carbs. Yeah, I saw you. Quickly talk about some tips on tracking macros. Don't worry if you're not hitting them, especially at the beginning. It took me ages to adjust to them. The rough rule is probably 10%. So if it's 128 grams of protein, I'm allowed to go 10% above or below. So that's 12.8 grams above or below that I'm not going to worry if I don't hit it. Anyway, I never did worry if I didn't hit my macros because I was taking it always as a learning curve and just trying to learn and better myself with knowledge of food and all that. Don't eat crap all day long. That's not what macros is about. Yes, treat yourself every single day. I would never not treat myself to chocolate or something that I could fit into my macros when I was tracking it. But don't eat donuts and chocolate all day because you will just get hungry and it's just not going to be good for you. Every time I look around, she stops chewing my clothes. Another thing to mention is as your body weight drops, you need to keep readjusting your macros. So I go by the rule of once you drop 5 pounds, I would redo my macros and go from there again. If you feel like you're doing them for a while and you're not losing weight or you're not losing fat, yeah, don't look at the scales too much if you are working out in the gym, just to say that. If you're not losing body fat, then you want to try and, give it a couple of weeks or like a month or whatever, because your body needs to adjust to tracking macros first, and obviously it's going to take a while to see results. But if you do feel like nothing's happening, then decrease your calories by like 50 to 100 calories, just because obviously fat loss is to do with being in a calorie deficit. But don't forget at the same time, if you drop your calories too quickly, like your body just doesn't react well to it and it messes up your metabolism and loads of stuff like that. So you can decrease the calories, but just by as little amount as possible. I track my macros. I tracked my macros on MyFitnessPal. This video is already way too long, so I'm not going to go into details, which I was hoping to do. If a load of you need help with using MyFitnessPal, just chuck a comment below and I'm happy to do a video on it. It's quite easy to use, but kind of not at the same time. I just kind of took it loosely. I didn't get too obsessed with the app. I only had time today to do cutting, but if you wanted a video on bulking or maintaining, then just chuck a comment down below and I will see how many of you guys want that. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. I hope it wasn't too complicated. I hope my blackboard helped, even though you probably can't read anything that's on it because my writing is so messy. Yes, give this a like if you enjoyed. That's really helpful for me to know whether you guys enjoyed it or not. And thank you for all your support on here, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next video, if not before, on Instagram or Snapchat. Bye guys!